Welcome to Scorched Earth and general looking for the lesson reading for the sign of Sagittarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of December. I hope you are well. I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss for you today. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that the 6-month overviews for each of the signs that I've done that run from January to June 2023 are now available. That's the first link in the description box. They run to between about 3 and 4 hours, depending on which sign you are. So I think they're well worth the money. Do please go and check those out. And the second link in the description box is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. It's a really awesome group of people that hang out there, probably quite like-minded to you, I would think. There are lots of Saggies over there, actually. So if you're interested in that, that's the second link. And let's get on with this. So I did these readings pretty much religiously every month for about 2 years, and then I mothballed them back in the summer because I needed to claw back a bit of time for myself. So I haven't done them in a while. But I thought I'd bring them back as a Christmas present to you. Whether they come back in January, I don't know. We'll just have to see what my time management is like. But by way of explanation, if you haven't seen these before, they are essentially somewhat of an exercise in perspective, I guess. I think that there's wisdom or a lesson contained in every experience and interaction that we have, but more often than not, we miss exactly what that wisdom or lesson is because we get bogged down with the drama, or we get bogged down by the drudgery or whatever. So this reading is about taking a look at the energy that you're in at the moment and then seeing if we can raise your eyes a little bit to see where it is taking you. What is the point of it in the first place? Like, what is it trying to show you? So to that end, what we will do is pull 3 cards for your current energy, like an energetic snapshot, and then from there we'll take 3 cards to look at why you are in this energy. And it could be all sorts of things. It could be showing you some sort of insight about yourself. It could be about something that's trying to end. It could be about something that's trying to begin that you're not embracing. It could be something else. It could be all of those things together. We won't know until the cards hit the table. And then from there we'll get 3 cards of advice. Essentially, it's a way to navigate through energy that feels stagnant and pointless and all those kind of things. Yeah, and I've used it to quite good effect for myself, so that's why I'm using it here with you. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Sagittarius. Oh, that one popped out first of all. We've got the Strength card. Lovely. It's card of Leo in the Major Arcana. What about Sagittarius? We have Queen of Wands. That's the card of Aries in the Minor Arcana. And we have the 8 of Cups coming up for you too. So a period of change, I feel, for you at the moment, Sagittarius. I don't know if the change necessarily is taking place right now, but you are certainly getting yourself in a position to get ready for something, right? Get ready for a shift, get ready for a change. We've got that Strength card there that is talking, obviously, about the way that you are changing and developing and growing within yourself, and how whatever it is that you are currently thinking of and currently dealing with is a huge aspect of your future growth, I think. Think of this as kind of like preparing the bed before you start planting things up. There's a lot of fuckery involved. You've got to rake it and you've got to get all the stones out. Maybe you have to get the rotavator in there in the first instance. There's a lot of hard work that needs to be put in before you see the benefit of it. But every step that you take in this is ensuring the likelihood of your success more and more the more you do it, right? Nothing is guaranteed, but you can certainly skew the odds in your favor the harder you work and the more you put into something in its early stages, right? So I'm going to flip this around actually so you can see this. So we have that Strength card there, and we have the Queen of Wands, and this is why I say I think whatever it is that you're contemplating or doing at this point is not necessarily seeing a result, right? The King of Wands is all about action and taking action, and this would indicate the point at which whatever it is that you're doing is really underway, right? In a way that is is gathering its own momentum, but we're not there yet. Where the point that we're at is creating the ground for everything to go in. And so the Queen of Wands is the internal subjective experience of that. It is almost like thinking and planning about what you will do, meditating, in fact, on what you will do. And let's face it, acting as if something already exists is the first rule of manifestation, right? Well, the King of Wands would be the point where you are actively manifesting something. This is a step before that. And we have the Eight of Cups. Whatever it is seeing you leaving behind an aspect of your life, or a lot of your life, a huge aspect of your life, that now no longer emotionally serves you. Whether it is because you realise that your comfort zone is significant, and you've kind of padded it out and put all sorts of lovely furniture in there, and that simply won't do. I think being a Sagittarius is about living on the edge of stuff. But there's a sense of this being a really huge cycle that is coming to an end, that you are putting a commensurate amount of energy into completing and then restarting something new. The thing is, your eye doesn't seem to me to be on where you are right now. It is very much on where you are going. And that's good. We like that very much. But the Eight of Cups feels like a huge emotional shift for you. The end of a huge cycle, one that perhaps might have taken your entire life to come to this point. We've got this Seven of Cups here, and usually that talks about illusion and confusion and all those sorts of things. And actually, I don't get that sense of this at all for you today. We've got a woman with her head in the clouds, and it feels to me more like the message of this is that it's time to dream big. Like, it is time to put your head into the clouds, right? Whatever you can imagine, that's what you can do. You just have to fire your arrow and then meander your way towards wherever it lands, I think for the first time in your life, you're very, very clear about what you don't want anymore. And you're focusing on a feeling, right? And how do we expand this feeling? For some of you, you might well be considering moving from where you are. And if you are, I don't think you're moving down the street. I think this is a big upheaval. You might be changing your job. You might be changing all sorts of things. You might be setting up a business on your own. It's true to say that there's huge emotional growth with this, but I do not feel like that is it on its own, right? It's not happening in a vacuum. There's something catalyzing this. And you might not know where you are going, strictly, but you're following your heart. You're following wherever that arrow has landed, right? You can find your way back to it. And that's what you're doing at the moment. I think that's wonderful. Right, let's have a look and see why you are in this energy in the first place. We have the Lover's card. Amazing. Oof. Six of Wands. Lovely. What do we have here? Knight of Cups. What did I say? Following your heart. And the card pull. Thank you. And we have the Knight of Swords. Like, I just don't think that you can be swayed now from this path that you're on. It could be the thing that you are trying to pull off at the moment. In years gone by, you might have been sensitive to other people talking you out of it, right? And there might have been just enough doubt in you that enough people saying, oh, really? You're going to do that? Not sure that's a good idea. Might have been enough to sway you off your course. And particularly if those people were close to you. What I see now is a firmly grounded and rooted desire to change the way that you live wholeheartedly. And like I said, for some of you, that expression of that will be in a big relocation. But we've got the Lover's card, right? We've got that card of conscious co-creation, you creating the reality that you want for yourself. And that said, I feel like you're putting in a commensurate amount of effort to pull this off, as it is big. Right? Head in the clouds, it's a really big thing, and you are putting in the effort for it. That's conscious co-creation right there. But look at this, Six of Wands and the Knight of Cups. The message here is that you will always succeed when you follow your heart, Sagittarius. Now, we did a bit of talking a couple of years ago where I drew a correlation between Aries and Sagittarius, and I said, like, you're known for the movement, right? You just keep going, and Aries is always in front, Sagittarius is meandering off there. But there was this idea that you were always running, right? The thing is, as I pointed out at the time, there is a difference between running away from something and running towards something. And I felt for the longest time that Sagittarius and Aries were running away from their past. They were running away sometimes even from themselves, certainly running away from their emotions. And it's given you a ton of really interesting experiences, life experiences. But for the first time ever, you feel so in tune with your own emotions that this psychic link that you have to your arrow, wherever it's gone, means that it doesn't matter where you are, you can always find your way to what it is that is the result, right? Wherever that arrow has landed. I feel like there's a certain amount of faith now that there never used to be before. A trust in yourself and a trust in the process and a trust in the universe that where you're going is right for you at any given point. The Six of Wands is all about winning, right? It's about being seen to be victorious. The Knight of Cups is about following your heart. Like, you all will always succeed when you listen to your heart. That's a really important. I think Sagittarius are actually underrated sensitives. I mean, sometimes you don't come across that way. I mean, God, of all the people that I know, Sagittarians tend to be the most blunt about stuff. And that's quite the skill. I say that as a parent to a former teenage Sagittarian. She's not anymore. And having a partner as a Sagittarian. Actually, having been surrounded by a lot of Sagittarians for quite a lot of my life, I've realised lately. Anyway, there's always something very real about you, Sag. And I don't think that you ever wandered too far away from that realness. But the reality of your emotions and your internal space, right, the level of comfort that you had with your internal space, was not the same. And I think what you've learned is to be completely real with yourself. And now there's a dialogue, there's an open dialogue that you have with yourself. We have the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck here, and that card is always about the ability to be able to ascertain what is wrong and put it right in whatever way that needs to happen, right, in your life. This and sometimes that means taking yourself out of a situation, and sometimes it means putting more effort into a situation. And whatever you've got going on here, I feel that you understand innately that more effort is what is required from you. And it's like all the streams of your energy are open and they are moving, and that is awesome. And the lesson is, trust that, rely on that. Like, you really, really lean into that, because nothing that anybody else says really matters. Actually, gotta be honest, Sagittarius, but possibly half of what comes out of your mouth doesn't really matter that much. What matters is this, and the direction that it pulls you in, you know? Let's get some cards of advice for Sagittarius, please. We have Two of Cups. We have, the Judgment card. And we have the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Swords. That's amazing to have those two come out together. Look, there you are at the bottom of the deck. I know that that's an Aries card. I'll shove these over a little bit. I know that's an Aries card, but you've been really stepping up of late, Sagittarius. And, you know, you get to have a seat at the table as an aspect of the Emperor. What was it, November's reading, October's reading? I forget. Like, it was like achievement unlocked, fucking Emperor. Like, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the planning and the strategy, you know? It doesn't matter if you don't know where you're going. It doesn't matter if you don't have a plan, the like of which a Taurus or a Virgo would like. It's just the right plan for you, you know? And some of that means that it doesn't really matter where you land. It's just important that you go and that you trust the little voice inside of you that tells you when it's time, or tells you when it's time to start thinking about this, when it's time to start packing up, when it's time to start moving on in some way or another. Now, we've got the Two of Cups and this Awakenings card, which is actually the Judgment card. And I think that that's quite important, because for a lot of you, there is a relationship within which the level of intimacy that you currently experience has been a huge catalyst in putting you where you are right now. I understand that that's not going to be true for all of you, because some of you are going to be single Sagittarians, but it's that feeling of intimacy that actually is spoken about in the Two of Cups. It's not necessarily about the coming together of other people, it's the intimacy that is experienced between them. That feeling, to me, seems to be the one that you need to lead with. Whether or not you are in a relationship, again, I'm going to say this again, it's not about being with another person. It's about when you are with another person with whom there is that incredible intimacy, there's the bond, there's the equality, there's everything, and it just works, and it's a beautiful reciprocal thing. Focus on that bit in between you both. And whether you are with a person or whether you are not, have that here, right? Because that's the link to your arrow right there. This Judgment card is quite interesting, because I do think that you can expect over the next month or so to be getting some really quite spectacular insights. I mean, maybe you're getting spectacular insights about relationships, and possibly relationships that have ended. It seems like almost like a contemplation of relationships that have ended and been painful, and relationships that are good, and musing on the difference between. Sagittarians, you're the philosophers of the deck, right? You're always going to be having something to muse on. But in terms of whatever it is that you're planning, or wherever you're going next, I would just point out that we do have that Mercury retrograde in Capricorn happening at the end of this month. We're in the pre-shadow period for that already. And the idea of Mercury retrograde energy is to go back over stuff and make sure that you have tidied it up properly, right? Make sure you've closed it out properly. These two cards, number 10, would absolutely speak to a closure of sorts, right? But maybe for you, that is musing on what has gone right and what has gone wrong over the years, right? Making sure that the lessons that you have learned up until this point are really set in your head, so that when Mercury goes direct again and movement is possible, that you kind of take off vertically. Sag, I don't get any sense of you getting frustrated about the lack of movement here, though, because there is that innate knowledge that you are preparing the ground, right? It's not ready to move yet. You know that. But when it is ready to move, you want to be able to take off vertically, like some sort of fucking Harrier jump jet, No runway needed for Sag, they can just go straight up. The relationship aspect of things seems to be really important for you. And that's in terms of what comes next. So whether it is about holding that feeling of intimacy there and allowing yourself to experience every person that you meet through the lens of that, whether it is about holding on to the arrow that you have fired and using that feeling as your way to navigate towards it, or whether it is that the relationships that you are in are about to undertake a really quite vigorous transformation, and it is important for you to know what has worked and what has not, so that you put your best foot forward each time. It's going to be different for each of you, but I see all of these appearing here for you. So that's pretty good. So, I'm going to leave it there, Sagittarius, but you're doing an awesome job. You really are. I'm so proud of you. I can't even tell you. This is boss level shit, for sure. So, know that I love you all very, very much. And I will see you soon.